Hello, I'm Dr. Sam Hancock of the Emerald Planet and Emerald Planet TV. We come to you on a week-to-week basis from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technology, services, and products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And as we have a planet of 9 billion people by 2038 and possibly 12 to 13 billion by the end of this century, how are we going to be able to take care of all these people on planet Earth? And that's what Emerald Planet's all about. We come to you looking at the solutions, the best practices from around the globe as we create the Emerald Planet. Hello, welcome to the Emerald Planet. We're making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And seeing the long-term impacts of climate change. We're glad to have you. Thank you for being with us. Yes, and thank you again for being with us as we're looking at this amazing product. This is called the HyOx SuperWater, and it's all about, we're really changing the paradigm of how we look at water itself. We've always talked about water as life, and this is a branded name as far as the DC Water in Washington, DC is. But also now we're adding as water plus oxygen, increased oxygen, is life. And the gentleman who actually is the inventor of the technologies to do all this and discovered it by looking at millions of years old oxygenated water, correct? In the core samples of the Arctic and the Antarctic, is Dr. Reinerio Linares. He is the lead scientist, founder, and CEO of HyOx SuperWater in Florida and also in Cali, Colombia.
Correct.
And we're glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Sam.
And looking at this, the water, as far as new green societies, this is something that's really key, is that we want to have higher employment, people living in urban areas and small rural areas have a living wage there. They don't have to be moving other places, but improve their own local communities. But you're saying your HyOx SuperWater, as well as this Terra HyOx, actually can help do all that within local communities. How do you do that, and why focus on the communities, not just the individuals in the communities?
Correct. So I think, like, as we humans are a sociable entity, and we try to be communal. And most people in their communities are really looking for each other, small communities. So if given the right tools, most people will do the right thing. Mm-hmm. And now are more and more conscious that we need to save our environment, our planet, our water, our food. So this movement is expanding rapidly. And if we go back to the community, which is the backbone of our society, given the right tools and at an affordable price, they will do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Now we're looking at, you're talking about this high oxygen SuperWater and the whole thing of improving agriculture, but also the quality of the soil, of the air, not just the water itself. So you have this set up so you can actually do this indoors as well as out of doors. So tell us about the discovery and what your research has led you to, and how this is actually now being introduced into not just small holdings, the spin that we've talked about, the small plot intensive organic farming, but also in large scale farming as well.
So in small farms in the inner cities and in small communities, small rural communities, they can do these farms because the amount of water that they need to use, especially now in this water crisis that is being expanded worldwide due to the contamination. Mm-hmm. So we can use smaller amounts of water. This hyperoxygenated water will be able to sustain these small plots without using large volumes. The Terra HyOx will be a nutrient that will be added to it in its tiny amounts, and it's all organic. But this can be also done in large irrigation systems or in large agricultural areas. So the advantage is that people won't need to use any chemical fertilizers. So there will be the savings will be there, the land will recover, and people can produce fresh, organic, affordable food for their communities. And they can also make industries out of this, and they will sustain and improve the social status.
Yeah, and looking at this too, we're looking at these very large containers. So you can make this in your factory, ship it to site. You know, if someone wants to use this as far as, you know, their small plot areas within the city or in rural areas. But also you manufacture the equipment so they can actually use these same containers and produce, you know, this high oxygenated water on their own using their own water from their local areas.
Correct. So we try to make it as affordable as possible, and it could be in technology that is pliable, that could be applied in the Amazon jungle, that could be applied in the Midwest, could be in the center of Africa, of India, because it can be taken, it's portable, it doesn't need electrical grid, it could be operated with solar panels, so either people can get the containers, prepare their own water, could be running water, creek water, rainwater, any water can be made better by these systems.
Yeah, that's just amazing. And we're going to show some of the examples here as far as what you've been able to produce. But you know, one of the things about this, what your research has shown, is not only are you increasing the size of the fruit, but actually the nutritional value of the fruit. How does the high oxygenated water do that?
So the way we develop the technology and the way we have done the research is that we think that given the right nutrition, the right hydration to the plant is able to express its utmost inner genetics. So, for instance, one of the problems that we have worldwide with the tomatoes is that we have made the tomatoes last longer, but they're tasteless. Okay? Same with the apple, same with many other vegetables that we consume. We have made them last longer, but they're tasteless. They are not what they used to be.
And they're not as nutritious.
They're not as nutritious. So what we are trying is to revert back the genetics of the plant to its own inner expression. So an avocado is going to take like a good avocado, tomato is going to taste like a good tomato, and it's going to be a healthy produce.
I like the psychology that you're applying to your plant, this inner expression of what is a tomato, what is a pumpkin, what is an avocado, what is a ear of corn. So what you're doing is that you're allowing it to go back because you're taking this super water, in essence, giving it more oxygen and also other nutrients as far as the Terra HyOx, and then allowing the genetics of the plant, just like we have genetics in human beings, you know, the antibodies. So it not only protects it, but it increases, you know, its, as you say, your expression, but actually the growth of the plant, the fruit itself.
Yes, correct. So I have thought of this the other day. I think if we have become humans or scientists, sometimes we have become so arrogant that we think that we know how to make nature better. Well, nature has been experimented for millions of years.
Yeah.
And what God has put here, or evolution has made here, I think is already pretty damn good, you know, to sustain life up to this point. And what we just let it happen, you know, we don't need to modify, we don't need GMOs, all this, because nature has encountered this balance for millions of years. We have disturbed this balance. And part of this balance is what the millions of years, thousands of years before, the water was excellent water, highly oxygenated water, the air was pure, and this was enough for the plant to produce these beautiful fruits, these very tasty fruits, leaves, legumes, etc., that we're trying to improve now, but we're failing. They're tasteless, we're destroying the land, we're destroying the soil. So I think we have to go back to the ancient traditions to let nature alone, because nature knows best.
So we were continued to improve after World War II because of starvation across the globe due to the devastation of, you know, World War II and all these local conflicts. We had to improve, but now we have in essence, the comfort we have, this margin as far as nutrition is concerned, that we can now go back and recapture a lot of that. So what we're doing is not only recapturing the inner expression of the fruits and vegetables that you talk, and I love that. That's very poetic. And but at the same time, as human beings, we're going back and rediscover the freshness, how tasteful, you know, the fruits and vegetables are, and really enjoying the nutrition of each of these things we're eating, not just the mass of it, which has made most people obese.
Correct.
But we're getting the essence of this.
Exactly.
You're a poet. I like this. This is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Looking at the panela, the sugar cane, tell us a little about this. And we're looking at before the treatment, after the treatment, and there is a dramatic difference that you can actually see in these photographs.
Yes, and you know, so one of the problems that the organic or the farmers that wants to grow organic has is that once they do an organic farming, the yields compared to intensive fertilization, intensive use of pesticides, their yields were lower.
Mm-hmm.
But we think that these yields are lower because the soil has been destroyed, has been tampered with, because the water is not
by
added
all the chemicals that have been applied to it.
Prior
Okay.
to it.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a lower yield. So the only way to stay in business is to make that produce, those fruits, cost more.
Mm-hmm.
So what we had done, and thanks God, thanks to our technologies, we've been able to produce almost or equal amounts of yield with organic growth versus intensive pesticides growth, with the addition of the higher oxygenated water and the terra HyOx. So now the cost is less and the yield is the same. So there will be the capacity to produce now an organic food that is affordable for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we can see this as far as the larger size. The stalk size, you're saying sometimes it's the same as, or it could be larger, but the juices are higher, so it's actually giving you more results.
Correct.
And more product that then can be processed, as we're talking about this ancient cane panela, which is one of the groups that have come to you and want to actually incorporate your terra HyOx in that. Looking at these limes,
Right.
tell us about this.
So these limes were, it's a type of lime called Tahitian lime. So it's a variety. And these were trees in an orchard that were very receding because they were aged. Once they were treated with good water, oxygenated water, good symbiotic probiotics, these plants came back, like gained a second life. And probably due to experience, I would say, the plant was able to produce these larger limes, larger fruit that were juicier, tastier, and have a flavor that was much, much better than the fruit that
The
they
inner
used to have
essence.
before. So the inner expression of the
Right.
plant was coming through.
That's absolutely fantastic. Looking at coffee, and we're going to go out in a couple of these because we're about the end of this. Coffee treated, but you can actually raise the value of that coffee just by soaking it in your water, correct?
Correct. So what we allow is the coffee to be left in the water or in the plant and ripening slower. So again, these expressions are much better. So the coffee farmers are very happy because their coffee now is of better quality, better taste, and they are getting a better price for that coffee.
Well, we're going to go out. Actually, I'm going to put up this. This is one of your fruit there. But thank you for being with us on the Emerald Planet TV. Dr. Linares, he's the lead scientist, founder, and CEO of HyOx SuperWater. Fantastic for sharing with us. Thank you for being with us as we create the Emerald Planet.